Gosh, just call me Bob, second name, builder.
That'd be easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you joined me back in the south of Hampshire where we will be having another wet adventure. We've got no shelter whatsoever. However, on the way here, I decided to purchase a little mystery item from good old Lidl. I'll reveal to you what that mystery item is, but that might be something that gets us through the night more comfortably than without. What we're currently doing is we're following the river upstream, and hopefully my plan is to have a nice river camp. Now, that's not too good for the land that we're sleeping on because it's going to be soaking wet, especially in this recent weather where we've just had non-stop rain, but it will be beautiful. And you know what? I think I may have found a little spot above where we are now, so let me go check it out. I think we've found our spot. I'll show you. Now, don't get too excited, but look at this. Typically, what we'd be able to do is use this to our advantage. That's a massive wall that we could use. Have the fire here, this side, and that would reflect the fire and the heat back towards us. However, there's quite a big bog underneath. Let's see if there's other options because we see another wall just over here. That is most likely used from small game. They're gonna use that as a nice little cubby hole to get out this wet weather. So we might have some friends tonight. Right, so my mystery item that I bought from Lidl's that might help me out tonight is this lovely improvised thermal windscreen protector. Now, I did used to have a tarp. I've lost it, so we don't have shelter. And I thought on the way, there was a Lidl. And let's see if they have a tarp. They didn't have a tarp, but this, I don't know whether to use beneath us to sleep on, or we can put over us as a roof sort of thing, and that might be better for the rain conditions. There's plenty of birch in this area, so what I'm about to do isn't going to be too catastrophic for the environment. I'll be taking from these two trees because being so close together, they're actually going to be competing for nutrients from the soil. Therefore, if I cut down one of them, that allows the other tree that I leave to thrive and benefit from this tree being gone. And there's a lot of birch in the area, so we don't need to be worried about getting rid of any of these trees. In this area that we've come across, we're actually quite lucky because there's a lot of just falling down trees as it is, naturally. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilise that to the best of our abilities and not waste as much energy on building or getting timber for the shelter. And it's going to be more conserved for getting firewood, which will be the drier stuff that we will have to cut down. Now what I'm doing is I'm leaving on a little bit of limb from the extras, just in case we want to use them for what I want to do later on with the shelter. The plan's coming together. We've got this beam extended out of this side, supported, and then we've got another beam coming out the other side. What we're going to do now is lay more logs and sticks across the platforms, creating that roof, and then we can lay the windshield protector on top of those logs going across, and that will create a nice roof for us. And pretty much shelter done. Then next step is to crack on with a bed and then look at getting a fire set up. Very close to coming together, and a lot of like figuring it out and improvising, but we're making it work. What we're going to do is we want to support this beam going across. Now we need something coming up, like we put the other side, with one of these in between so that can sit in there, right? But if it was straight up, just not that solid, not that sturdy, especially if we've got high winds or a lot of weight on top, which we will, and we had a bunch of logs. So what we're going to do, I've cut this. This is essentially going to be my spade or shovel, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna put the end of this as a hammer. We're gonna put about there. So we're gonna do that. That makes a nice little hole. Pull that out. Makes it that much more sturdier. So right now we're optimizing for the thinner logs, because if we went with just thick logs, thick and heavy stuff, not only is that holding more water, but it's going to be heavier for the shelter, putting more pressure and weight on these structural beams, which we don't want. Now, we don't actually need that many logs up on here, especially if we're using that cover that I bought from Lidl. But just to be safe, we'll cover it as much as we can. I think we've finished the roofing. That is completely fine for me. I'm completely happy with that, especially because we got that little purchase. We can just lay that over the top, chuck some more sticks on top of it. That should be a good enough shelter. I mean, I'm not too fussed about the wet, as you can tell, but next on our list, because it is actually getting quite a lot darker than I expected. Bed, then fire. That works perfectly. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect shelter, if I say so myself. I've tucked it up right against the back there, and then that gives us a nice dry platform, which we just need to build a bed all across here. Now this is going to be a bit of a messy job. My job is to clear all this clay and soil, push it out, and make a nice basin here. I'll be using my axe as a nice little shovel, and then we can start to build a bed in here. Should be nice and cozy, but really happy with how it's turned out so far. I mean, it's going to keep me dry at least, so all I need to do is build a fire there. In hindsight, definitely do this before you build the shelter. Okay, you know what I might do? I might take off the jacket, roll up my sleeves and get dirty. There's a river just there, so what I want to do is I'm just going to dig my hands in. Could be a little badger. Right, let's get to digging. Now all we really need is just the length where I would be able to comfortably lay down. So about 6'4", maybe about 6'8" lengthways. Okay. Right, guys, please. Right, let's go down to the river so we can wash our hands off. Look at our boots. Jesus Christ. Look like I'm wearing something out of fucking Kanye's catalogue. I don't quite know how deep this is. This might be a mistake. Okay, mistake. Lovely, lovely fresh river. Not muddy at all. I need to start bringing a hat. I look like a noodle head. Hot noodle, hey? I'll be your sponsor. How cool does that look? I think that looks sick. I mean, excuse the homelessness of the aesthetic on top, but inside looks so cozy. Imagine if all that dried up. That'd be a cozy little nook. I've changed my mind on the order of things. Instead of making a fire first, I'm gonna make the bed first, or at least get the logs too. We need at least 8 similar logs to the one I've already got here. About that thickness would be great. Definitely that length. And we should be fine and dandy. Shouldn't take us too long. Decided to do, because I look like an absolute noodle head, just use my t-shirt as a little do-rag, mate. Right, now at least I don't have wet hair just dripping in my eyes, and I can get on with cutting down wood. Something about him. You're gonna be alright, mate. I'll find another. If you can get over the wet and the initial miserable weather, honestly, it's beautiful out there. Even in the wet, the cold, the muddy, it's beautiful out there. Even better sometimes in the rain, because you have that sound. It's just such a peaceful sound. Oh, look. Fern moss. Right there. Beautiful. A lot of moss hold lots of water in, and a lot of that sometimes is clean, fresh drinking water. Now, although it will taste earthy, it'll be clean. Getting back to the point, if you can get past the wet weather, it's actually beautiful out here. You've got the sound of the rain with you. A lot of the animals are actually more out than typically they are when it's not raining, because there's less people about. But yeah, if you can get past the wet weather, it's beautiful, and I highly recommend you come out and do some camping trips. You don't have to be as extreme as me. Bring a tent, bring a mattress and that. Make yourself comfortable, but I like this. I like this aspect of it, the raw, rugged aspect of it. It's beautiful. Brings me back to, I don't know, just a cool feeling. I love it. It's comfortable. It's comfortable for me to be uncomfortable. You're coming with me, lad. For all of you gamers out there, What does this sound remind you of? It's the forest. You ever play that game? Great game. Right, so my phone's on 70% now. I'm gonna chuck it on charge, and then I'm gonna get I'm just gonna spend a bunch of time getting a bunch of wood. We've got most of the wood for the bed, but we need a lot to last us to the morning. So I'm gonna chuck my phone on charge, and then next time you'll see me, I'll hopefully have a bunch of wood. I'm back after letting my phone charge for a little bit. It's only on 27%, but that's absolutely fine. What I've been doing is I've found trees that have fallen down but haven't landed on the ground yet. So they're sort of held up against other trees, meaning they're not just sat on the floor lying dormant, collecting and absorbing all the moisture from the ground. So they're actually pretty dry inside. So I've been cutting down a bunch of those logs, and I've gotten all of these. That's my bed. Let me make the bed quick. We'll set the fire up, and then we can carry on getting firewood, because all we need to do is just drag a bunch of timber into camp, and then we can just sit around the fire, storing the wood, and then we're pretty much sorted. Can we just take a moment? I don't know if the phone's picking the audio up, but how peaceful is this? You hear the birds, and you got the river in the background. Ignore the plane, but that's beautiful. It's time to get disgusting again. Gosh, just call me Bob. Just call me Bob. Second name, Builder. Or Nosy, mate. Now, let's make the bed again. We've reinforced the two support beams with clay soil, so it's a level height. And we're gonna have all this space underneath the bed. So hopefully the fire's heat is gonna run on up under, warm beneath the bed, warm the wall, bounce back on me. And we're gonna be cozy tonight, I feel like this is gonna be the best shelter we've been in so far. Now the most important part here is we wanna try our best to arrange these logs in the most even distribution as possible, because they're not all the same size and width, girth, whatever for, but we're gonna try our best to make a comfortable bed tonight. She might be too short. I don't want to in the middle of the night be falling, so I'll get at least 3 more. I'm pretty sure that's bed done. Let me give her a little test. I think that's that'd be easy. Let's make a fire. So what I'm doing now is I'm collecting tinder. It's very dark now, as you can see. I don't know if the camera's picking up how dark it is. I've got about 10 minutes left of true light. I'm gonna pluck and take as many of these tiny little branches that are hanging off of the trees, because if you can hear that classic snap, that means the inside of them are actually dry, although the outside is going to be soaking because it's been raining for about 3 years in the UK. That notorious snap is going to give us a good indication that these are actually dry inside. We're going to get a bunch of these little ones because I've got some shavings from back home, flint and steel. That should catch a light. I'm going to use some cotton as well, so tear up some cotton that really catches that ember, and then whilst the cotton's burning, should burn up the dry shavings that I've got, and then that should be enough heat to warm up these little twigs and then start the fire. We need to build it up from these sticks, that sort of size. Right, as you can see, I've got a fire going. It's taken me about an hour of just tendering to this fire. I've done it with some flint and steel and some cotton pads that I've just torn up to expose the inside so it's all dry and fluffy. That catches the light, that catches the sparks and embers from the flint and steel. And then what I do is create feather sticks, which is just shaving down a stick, so you get really fine shavings, and then keep on loading them on top until they're catching, and then I can start chucking all these wet twigs and branches on and then start building it up. But it's taken me about an hour. I'm freezing cold and it's not stopped raining, so I'm just gonna keep on tendering to this fire until it's big enough so I can move it off my bed and onto the floor. So yeah, I just need it to be big enough so it can actually survive being on the actual ground, the wet ground, and obviously the rain. I don't know if you can see me, but what you will be able to see is a fire. I started it on my bed, it took me about an hour. I've moved it off my bed and set it on the floor in front of me so I'd be able to actually sleep and not have a fire on me. I am getting pretty cold, so I'm glad this is finally set up. I've got a bunch of chopped up wood just by my head where I'll be sleeping, so all throughout the night I'll just be able to chuck a few logs on, keep the fire going. But everything's absolutely soaked. This is the hardest I've ever done wild camping. So next time we've learned a few lessons to go a lot earlier, sort your fire out, and then you can crack on with the shelter. But the light going so early is a big factor. And my torch has run out, so I've only got the torch on my phone. But yeah, we're in a good place. We've got a dry bed. I've chopped my sheepskin over the bed. That's at least a little bit of padding. And then my sleeping bag. That'll be absolutely fine, especially for one night. Yeah, I'm gonna maybe cook some dinner, maybe not. I'm pretty tired, so I might just go straight to sleep. I'm in bed now. I haven't filmed much just because, I mean, it's shit weather, pitch black. I've got no torches other than on my phone. So if I use this, I can't see what I'm doing because I'm just looking at a torch. So all I've done is I've got a bunch of firewood and then got into bed really. It's just what I showed you earlier, sheepskin and sleeping bag. It's just started to rain again. It's kind of been on and off, lightly raining, but it's back on. Yeah, I'll give you an update in the morning. We haven't eaten dinner. We had a bit of bread. Nothing exciting's happened. Yeah, I'll give you an update in the morning. Good morning. This is it staged either. I've just woken up in my sleeping bag and decided to film whilst I'm getting out of it. Fire's still going. Sort of. I'm dry, I'm warm. It's 7:30. Great night's sleep. I fell asleep at like 9, right? And then woke up thinking, that was an amazing sleep. And then I'm thinking, I got loads of firewood left. It must just be like 5 or 6 or something. I looked at the time, fucking 11 at night. 11. Scottish meme, you get it? Turns out the camping spot was not good at all. I slept in a mud pit. I don't know what possessed me to think of this. Look, it's literally just mud. Great camping spot if it's not winter and raining all the time. We've got a river in the background and it's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Still got firewood left over, but I need to go back home because I got something to do. So unfortunately I can't stay out here, cook breakfast and enjoy the day. I've got stuff to do, so I need to pack up. Let me show you my little camp properly this time. So I've laid a bunch of sticks across these little beams here that I've made, and then down below we had to actually dig out a lot of that, as you saw. Just a suspended raised bed to keep us off the ground. That keeps us nice and warm off the cold floor. And then it's pretty much level other than that first beam. The others are pretty level, so
It's actually a comfortable sleep. And then laid a sheepskin over it with a sleeping bag. And then, yeah, just fire here. I moved the fire in the night, like all down into the mud, just because if you wake up, you don't want to be having to climb across mud. You want to just be able to reach across to put more wood on the fire. So essentially that's it. Nice little camping spot. We've got a river running along just in front of us here. Been able to hear that all night. Lovely little spot. I would probably return to this spot in summer when that mud isn't all wet and it's actually dried out. But yeah, it's been a nice little trip. Not my most glamorous or successful, but still a success. I've enjoyed it. It's been nice. So let's get packed up and then we'll head off. So for those of you who want to go wild camping, what I like to do is practice a little thing called leave no trace. Now, if you're gonna come out into these woods that are untouched, what you want to do afterwards is leave it as good as you found it. And I'll do something even better. After you've taken down all your structure, put out your fire, thrown everything about so nature can take advantage of it. On your walk back to your car, or wherever you came from, what I recommend you doing after you've cleared away all your camp, on your way back, is if you see any litter, pick it up. And that's just a nice little way to not only leave this environment the way you left it, but to leave it better than you found it. We're ready to go.